So, a bit of a whirlwind. I think one thing that's kind of underestimated in journalism is just the travelling. I'm basically a lone wolf out here. Although there's 8 of my colleagues, we've all kind of split up. So we've got 4 guys covering England up north in Erfurt, and then the rest of us are sort of splitting up and getting to all the different cities. So this little run I've had in the past 72 hours is actually tame compared to the one I had in the group stages, where I'd done 4 games in 5 days, and one of those was the Croatia-Italy game, which, as you'll probably know, had that 98th minute equaliser, which completely changed the whole story. So that was really tough and mentally exhausting. But I'd done the England game in Gelsenkirchen on Sunday. Obviously that was drama, but thankfully I wasn't really doing a live piece for the paper. I was doing some online stuff, so I wasn't too badly affected by the late Bellingham goal. Obviously that was great to witness as well. And then I went back to Frankfurt yesterday for the Portugal-Slovenia game. I've actually been staying in Frankfurt for the past 3 weeks, so it's nice to have a game in the city I'm staying in, although logistically it's still quite difficult to get to. So again, that's all stuff you have to encompass in the travelling and the delays and stuff that's out of your hands. And then today I've got on a 4-hour train to Munich to do the Holland game, and thankfully that was far more straightforward. Although there were 3 goals, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion from the first 20 minutes when Gakpo scored that Holland were going to win this. So as a journalist, it's an absolute blessing to have these kind of matches, because it really does ease the stress, particularly when you're burnt out. I think this is my 9th game. I've done so much travelling over the past 2.5, 3 weeks that I'm actually at the point now where I'm looking for any kind of help I can get in terms of kind scorelines and drama-free matches. So yeah, today was a good day, and I'm resting now until Friday when I'm doing Germany, Spain and Stuttgart. So I wasn't the most talented kid in terms of writing. Even now, I don't believe I'm the greatest writer. I'm good at getting stories, you struggle to find anyone. This is not being big-headed that works harder than me. I put in the hours, and I think ultimately that's where it's got me. So although I'm living the dream, this is what I always wanted to do. And my journey to get here started over 10 years ago now, when I decided at school that I wanted to be a sports journalist, and then I came down to Brighton with the likes of Owen and Jed to learn my trade, and that gave me the tools to go into a newsroom. But it doesn't feel surreal. Even being at the England game, it didn't feel surreal. I think you just become accustomed to it, because when you get yourself into that environment, it becomes comfortable and you become used to it. And this is what, it's just my normal working environment. But, from the outside, it may look amazing. And, don't get me wrong, I do still massively appreciate it. And, I never take it for granted. It's an honour really to be here. I always said that I wanted to do when I was at uni, I always said I wanted to do the Canada, USA and Mexico World Cup. So to get to a major tournament before that has been, really great for me. And I'm over the moon to be here. And hopefully if I continue to work hard, I'll be going to that World Cup in 2 years' time as well. Even as recently as yesterday, stuff that goes on inside the journalism world that are kind of setbacks and challenges that you have to face. But it's just about how you deal with that. And you just have to be thick-skinned. You have to be resilient. I think my personal view is, if you want something enough, if you want to do this, if you want to be a reporter, you will get there if you've got the mindset to just keep on going. And that's the only reason I've got in this position. It's just because I've just got a dogged sort of determination to achieve stuff and get places. And I've put in the graft. But there will be probably people in your classroom now that are far more talented than me. But ultimately, it's a bit like, most things in life. Unless you've got the mindset to kind of achieve something, then there's no good having talent if you don't have the work rate to match it. So, that's probably the greatest piece of advice I could give anyone that wants to come into this field, that you've just got to keep going. And the way the industry's going now, even I'm concerned about, what it might look like in 5 to 10 years' time. I think the online kind of world is really taking over. So I'm kind of in between that. So I know online, and my company love that because that's the way the kind of journalism world is going. But then I also wanted to come across to print because that's the guys that are out on the beat, out at the grounds, out at the press conferences and stadiums getting the stories. So basically, you've just got to try and be a mix of the two. And that's I think we're approaching a new era now where people like myself have found myself falling into the transitional period, thankfully, because it's the skills of knowing the online world, social media are really sort of sought after now. And unfortunately, the guys that have been sort of around for 30, 40 years, the guys you might call dinosaurs, unfortunately, is sad, but they're being cast aside because they just don't. Some of them, not all of them, they don't know how to use social media, and there's a lot of journalism isn't what it once was, unfortunately. And I do feel for those guys because it's nothing against them. It's just the world has changed. But that would be the best advice I could give. Is that it's about perseverance. You might have incredible talent, but it's just about networking. It's about working hard. If you work hard, that's all you can do, and you'll maximise your opportunities. I think, unfortunately, a bit of luck is involved nowadays, particularly the way the industry is going. There's a lot of redundancies. Even at my company, I've lost a lot of great colleagues to redundancies. But it's been about having a good social media brand. I mean, my Twitter account, I've been relentlessly using that for about 11 years now. It's the same one I had when I was at university in your classes, Owen, but I've just built it over time. And another good piece of advice, which is a little bit off track, is I would say make sure you're not posting anything offensive, or clean up your social media, because employers, they do look at it. I know of instances where people haven't got jobs because of it. I'm sure Jed, if he's still around, will tell you about when I went for the Arsenal placement and they found a few tweets about Arsene Wenger on one of my old Twitter accounts when I was in secondary school, I think. And it really taught me that actually these people, they look at your social media accounts. When I say they found tweets, it was just like a couple of swear words and things like that. But obviously, if I was looking to work for Arsenal, they don't want to employ someone that's got swear words on their account. So it's really important to go back through your old Facebook post from when you were at school. If there's any swear words on there, I know it sounds far-fetched, but I can't stress enough that all this stuff, it can come back to haunt you. And it's just as important as working hard and just being multi-skilled, doing video, doing writing, doing social media. But it's a long journey, and I would say don't put pressure on yourselves to reach a certain point within a short space of time, because unfortunately it doesn't always play out like that, and you need to go on that journey.